Hey guys, I just decided I'm going to do a wrap up today for the month of June. I know it's a couple days into July already, but I've never done a wrap up before. When I used to vlog several years ago, I never thought about doing a wrap up. I only did reviews and tags and other things. So I'm going to tell you the books I read in the month of June. These are all on my Goodreads already, but I thought I'd just do a quick video about them. I read 10 books this month, which is pretty much unprecedented. I usually get through like 2 or 3 in a good month, but it is summer and I'm not doing much right now, so I think I just have like a lot more time to read. So the first book I read this month was this little guy, C.S. Lewis, The Abolition of Man, and it is a short little book about theology and education, and it was a good read. If you're all into those topics, I would recommend it. The next thing I read was Everything Leads to You by LaCour, and I did do a review on this. I'll link to that right here or in the description. Yeah, check that out. It was a really good read, contemporary young adult, really enjoyed it. The next thing I read was We Were Liars by Lockhart, and I didn't do a review on this because I think it was getting plenty of buzz without my input. I'm sure most of you have heard of this. I did really enjoy it and I would definitely recommend it. The next thing I read was a collection of letters called C.S. Lewis Letters to Children. I love books of letters, so if you guys know of any books that are written in that sort of style, I would really appreciate hearing about those because I love, love, love books that are written in like letters, even if they're fiction or nonfiction. I just love that. So let me know, and that book was really good too. The next book I read was The Golem and the Jinni by Helene Wecker. That was really good. I did do a review on that I'll link to. That was sort of a historical, paranormal fiction, a really long read, but really, really good, so definitely check it out. The next book I read was something I got on my Kindle. It was a new adult book called Unteachable by Leah, Raeder. I don't read a lot of new adult. It's not really my favorite genre. If you are at all into the new adult romance scene, it's generally one of the better ones. I don't really know because I don't read a lot of them, but check it out if you're into that. The next book I read was also from the library, and it's called Kiss an Angel by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. Again, I'm not into romance most of the time, but I just felt like something really light, and that had really good high reviews on Goodreads, so I checked it out. So again, if you're into romance, you probably would like it. I don't get that into that genre, so it wasn't my favorite, but it was good as far as those go. The next book I read was called A Monster Calls by Ness, and I had heard a lot about this. I think Jesse from Jesse the Reader talked about it, and I thought it was gonna be a horror book, and I'm not into that. I'm easily scared. So seeing this cover and some of the illustrations inside of it made me think that it was going to be scary. Because it has just this sort of dark illustration and this theme going through it. But it was honestly a really, really emotional book. The story is about a boy whose mom has cancer and just how he's sort of dealing with that. And I had no idea that's what it was about when I started it, and I ended up really moved by it. So I'm not going to do a full review, but you should definitely check it out. The last book I read in the month of June is called The Archive by Schwab, and I was really impressed with this book. And I think it was partially because when I picked it up, I didn't expect to be impressed by it, so my expectations were kind of low, but it kind of blew me away, really. I mean, the story is really imaginative. It's about a girl who works in this archive, and it's filled with dead bodies, but they're not really dead bodies. They're just sort of copies of people's lives that can be read and stored, and it's sort of hard for me to describe, but it's really good. That about wraps up my month of June. So yeah, I read a lot of books, and I would do a July to be read, but I sort of hate committing to reading certain books, so I'll just say that I'm planning to read the sequel to The Archived. There's another Schwab book called Vicious that I'd like to read. I have it here from the library. And I just started a book today. It's called The Revised Fundamentals of Caregiving, and it's by Evison, and it's really good so far, so I'm sure I'll finish that. And I'm also reading a book that I mentioned in my last book haul called Making Shapely Fiction. This is a non-fiction sort of reference book for fiction writing, so I'm sure I'll finish that because I'm about half done. So that's all I'm going to do for TBR because it kind of scares me to commit to things. So yeah, that's about it. I'm sure I'll be back soon with a tag or a review or something. If you have any suggestions or comments to make, I would love to hear that. I love making videos for you guys and I love feedback. So thanks, and I'll see you guys later.